Hello, it is Friday, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight on Now. Opioids in our seafood, how the epidemic could be trickling down into our crucial waterways.
I thought maybe we could put like a speed bump at every straightaway or hill or turn.
An 8-year-old thought his road was unsafe, so he decided to do something about it.
And tonight we want you to join the conversation about the zero tolerance policy at the border. Should parents be separated from their children to await prosecution?
So get on Facebook and join the conversation. This is News Center Now.
The opioid epidemic is not only killing our family and friends, it could be tainting our fisheries. Hello, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. We will have that story in just a moment. But first, police documents outline how investigators say they believe Jalik Keene murdered and hid the body of a young woman from Bar Harbor. Details of this case are disturbing, we warn you. According to the affidavit, Michaela Conley picked up Keene from the Boston airport late in the day, and then the two went to the playground near Connors Emerson School in Bar Harbor, where they stayed until the early hours of the morning. Keene says he had sex with the victim and then never saw her again. But police say surveillance footage from the school clearly shows Keene the next morning dragging her apparently lifeless body into the woods, where she was later found. Keene is currently in the Hancock County Jail charged with murder.
Scientists may have uncovered an unforeseen consequence of the opioid epidemic.
Traces of oxycodone were found in mussels in the Puget Sound off the coast of Seattle. Should Maine be worried about how the drug crisis is affecting our wildlife? Here's Christina Rex.
The mussels are showing us that there's oxycodone in the water there, which means that other species in the water are being exposed to it. We just can't necessarily find it in those other species.
Mussel samples tested by Jennifer Langsbury's team of biologists are testing positive for oxycodone, a result, she says, of increased drug consumption. Langsbury says the traces likely come from wastewater that filters back into the ocean, from people either excreting traces of opioids or flushing pills down the toilet.
We typically associate highly urbanized waterways with contaminants anyway.
Maine scientist Graham Sherwood says these results don't surprise him. Highly urban areas are usually highly contaminated. That doesn't count Portland's shoreline, but does include Boston's. Plus, the amount of oxycodone found was rather small. Not yet a threat to other fish or humans.
You would have to eat about 150 pounds of mussels from that contaminated location to even get a minimal dose.
In one sitting. While the oxycodone is new, discovering drugs in shellfish is not.
Definitely other pharmaceuticals have been measured in multiple studies, including antibiotics and heart medications and chemotherapy drugs. I mean, that's nothing new.
We found antibiotics in all of the samples, antidepressants, including Zoloft. We found heart medications.
So, should the drug discovery worry Mainers? Both scientists say not yet.
We think that this is a problem that's really restricted to urbanization in Puget Sound and the big cities.
In Portland, Christina Rex, News Center, Maine.
Now, the scientists say that mussels are a good species to test for two reasons. One, they don't have a functioning liver, so they don't process drugs. And two, they stay put, so they're a good indicator of the water around them. Maine's Department of Marine Resources tests coastal shellfish every week during the warm months.
Speaking of the warm months, if you were disappointed with the cooler temps this week, you can get excited now.
We have traded out our KC for a JC. Jess Conley in here now with our first look at the weather. Hey, Jess.
Hey, guys. It was a nice day today. It wasn't super hot, but that weather is on the way for the weekend and into early next week. We're going to warm up quite a bit. We had plenty of sun, though, once the clouds that were around this morning moved out of the area. It really cleared up quite a bit. You can see higher pressure in place. That's going to stick with us as we go through the weekend, so it's looking sunny for tomorrow, still sunny for Father's Day. on Sunday, and then some very warm air moves in as we get into the day on Monday. We're talking some 90s. High temperatures today, only in the low to mid 70s, 76 the high today in Bangor. Even cooler in Portland, only made it up to 69 degrees. 71 was the high today in Wiscasset, and 75 the high today in Augusta. You can see that sea breeze has cooled us off on the coast. Most of us now are in the mid 60s, so it's a little bit cooler, but tomorrow it's going to warm up about 10 to 20 degrees on top of the temperatures we had today. Tomorrow morning, beautiful sunshine, temperatures in the low to mid 70s as we go into tomorrow afternoon. Look at these temps, low to mid 80s, sunshine, gorgeous first half of the weekend, and it's going to be a nice second half of the weekend as well. Things stay nice and warm, maybe setting some records for the day on Monday. So we'll talk about all of that in just a little bit, guys.
All right, Jess, thank you. Across the country, people are protesting the Trump administration's policy of separating children from their parents at the southern border. It is part of the zero-tolerance illegal immigration policy.
In South Portland last night, protesters gathered outside the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Office. 4 attempted to enter the building and were cited for failure to obey a DHS order.
Hundreds of children and infants have been separated from their parents while the adults await judgment from the Justice Department. It is a polarizing issue at all levels of government.
Some say families should stay together, but the Trump administration says the rule of law must be followed to end illegal immigration. So we want to hear from you right now on YouTube and Facebook. You can also join the conversation. Should families stay together, or should parents be detained and prosecuted? Go to pulse.newscentermaine.com or select the Pulse tab at our mobile app right now to vote, and we will have results at the end of the show. And share your opinion, by the way, right now, as we mentioned, on Facebook or YouTube.
And when you do share those opinions on Facebook or YouTube, as always, we ask you to just be respectful of other people's opinions. We want to hear yours. We want everybody to be able to express what it is they have to say. Whether or not you agree with the zero-tolerance policy, Homeland Security having a really hard time enforcing it. Some families are allowed into the country, other families are separated.
A reporter at the southern border, Oscar Margain, shows us how the policy isn't equally applied to everyone.
Scenes of undocumented families walking with their children shortly after being released from federal custody continue to this day. It's what's referred to as catch and release, a practice that the Trump administration says can't end because of loopholes in the current law. These Central American parents, strapped with ankle monitors, are allowed to join loved ones in the U.S. with the promise of showing up to immigration court in a few weeks, even after the zero-tolerance policy was implemented by the Department of Justice and Homeland Security over a month ago.
If you cross the southwest border unlawfully, then we will prosecute you.
It is our policy that anyone crossing the border illegally will be detained and referred for prosecution.
This is how it's supposed to work. Those who break the law are detained for a few days by Homeland Security for processing before they're referred to the Department of Justice for prosecution. During this time, any parent with an accompanying child would be taken from them and placed in shelters such as Casa Padre in Brownsville. But for most families in this Catholic respite center, that's not the case. Blanca Tupul, a Guatemalan mother of 3, crossed the river 3 days ago, hoping to reunite with her husband in South Carolina. Desperate to give her children the life she never had, Blanca hopes she won't be deported. So why are some undocumented parents prosecuted and others not?
So were they referred to us for prosecution?
We are trying to refer everyone.
These agencies say decisions are made on a case-by-case basis and admit they do not have the resources to go after everyone. DHS says it's doubled its referral rate to 60% of all illegal crossers to DOJ in the last month.
And that was Oscar Margain reporting from the border. So let's take a look at our Pulse poll results right now. 70% of you right now saying keep families together. 34% say detain and prosecute adults.
I want to take a second to give a quick shout out to Carolyn, who is on a boat right now watching News Center Now on her way to Vinyl Haven, and that's a commercial. That is, News Center Now for wherever your now happens to be. And for Caroline, it's on a boat on her way to Vinyl Haven.
And that's awesome. She stayed informed on the boat.
Glad you're watching on the boat. Don't get seasick. All right, coming up, police use a loophole in your iPhone security coding to collect criminal evidence from a locked smartphone, but A new Apple update could thwart some investigations.
And do you have a kid who dreams of being a police officer when they grow up? There's a camp you may want to know about. We'll tell you about it next. A future iOS update for your iPhone will close a loophole used by authorities to collect evidence in criminal investigations. Katie Ortiz here for Social Stop. Apple is tightening its iPhone security to protect owners' personal information. A gap in their software let outsiders crack data from locked iPhones without a password. Now, the move could thwart efforts from law enforcement officials to collect evidence in criminal investigations. You may remember this very issue was a legal battle between Apple and California authorities investigating the San Bernardino mass shooting back in 2015. Now, agencies use what is called a gray key device, according to the New York Times. It's $15,000 and allows law enforcement to access locked iPhones through the Lightning port weeks after they were last unlocked. Now, Apple says it respects law enforcement, but the company believes it needs to help protect customers against hackers, identity thieves, and intrusions into their personal data. Now, when the loophole is closed, Apple says iPhones will be less vulnerable to these intrusions. Leland. Thanks, Katie, so much. Okay, well, as the school year winds down, kids are already looking forward to the potential of going to some camps over the summer.
So most parents are pretty familiar. You've got sports camps, you've got dance camps, band camps. What about police camps? Well, for a handful of communities in our state, that's actually an option, and apparently it is super fun.
It was very well received. The parents just raved about it. They loved it.
That has been the reaction to the Junior Police Camp, or JPAC, run by the South Portland Police Department. Entering its third year, JPAC is open to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders from any community. Even though about a dozen different police officers run the camp, you do not have to want to be one of them someday to come.
We try not to make it a police camp. We're not recruiting people, but we just want them to have fun. And it gets us involved in the community and with the kids, so they're less apt to be scared of the police.
And there's plenty of fun to be had. The kids get demonstrations from the SWAT team, the dive team, and the always popular K-9 unit.
Where it's really more about like teaching them how to be a better person. It's not just about like doing cop things. When I started organizing it, I saw these different, I didn't realize we had a SWAT team in South Portland. I didn't realize we had a dive team, and they're all coming here to do all these demonstrations for the kids. And I was like, wow, this is so exciting. This is like something I wish I had when I was a kid. I would definitely have done this.
And a reminder, you do not have to live in South Portland to go to this camp. You can get more information or sign up for the camp by going to the South Portland Rec Department's website, or you could just go to the Now section of our website or mobile app, where we have posted a link just for you.
All right, we also want to get you on the website right now because we have a Pulse poll today. How should the Border Patrol handle parents illegally crossing the border with kids? Your options are keep families together or detain the parents to await prosecution.
Go to pulse.newscentermaine.com to vote, or just open up the Pulse tab on our mobile app.
Okay, how about this? Making big changes in his community all before bedtime.
I get plenty of complaints. I don't usually get them from 8-year-olds.
How this drawing convinced town officials to consider changing traffic laws. That's next.
And this weekend might just be picture perfect to head to the beach. Jess Conley's got the steamy forecast coming up. An 8-year-old Maine boy was upset about something that was happening in his community, and he wanted to do something about it. So he did.
Max Blake wrote a letter complete with this diagram here and walked it to the Newcastle town office himself. Now his mission to make his neighborhood roads safer is up for discussion by the town and state officials.
Play outside, play baseball. Yeah. It kind of makes me want to go back inside when I see people go by really fast.
We play outside a lot, and just watching the cars go by, we've always noticed, you know, that some cars go slow and then some cars will go real fast.
I just wondered, why are people going respecting their road but not ours? So then I came back up and I just I got some paper and I just started writing. We put out a slow down sign and they still won't slow down.
He just decided to draw a picture.
Well-written letter with diagrams, and I mean, it was phenomenal.
One of my friends lives on this road and they're right on the hill, and that's where people pick up speed, and the straightaways are really kind of the scariest thing.
it was such a strange thing. It was a Friday afternoon, and this 8-year-old and his mom and younger sibling come in and hands off a letter and saying, you know, I've got a problem on my road.
Then they got the boss to come over, and then they called a meeting.
The problem came in is that he said, well, my bedtime's 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So his bedtime was 7. Our meeting starts at 7. I said, well, the letter's great. The letter works.
Then I just kind of went with it to see what they would say.
What we found in the process of doing this is that some of our speed limits don't fit the quality of road that they are. We talked with DOT before the meeting, and they said, you know, look, you may want to have your board take a look at their whole, not just that road, but all the roads in that area.
We're actually pretty, you know, impressed that they, you know, really listened to him.
Some people give me high fives.
You don't usually get 8-year-olds that come in. Sometimes you'll get 8-year-olds that come in, but they aren't coming in to issue a formal, I don't know if complaint's the right word, but offer help, I suppose.
I think some people are now inspired from me to do that, like pick up a pen or maybe a marker, sometimes a pencil, and just write.
Now, guys, for the record, Max says he wants to be a lawmaker when he grows up.
So in 10 years, he'll be old enough to run for office. So we're going to vote Max 2028. Do we have to give equal time to any other 8-year-olds out there? Are we going to be okay with that?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll
Max, you get my vote in 2028. I will move to Newcastle just to vote.
And he's really
So
he wants to be able to
cool.
play outside and stay safe, and for his
Fair
neighbors
enough.
too.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a great weekend to play outside, but
Yeah.
it'll be hot.
Yeah, it's gonna be warm this weekend, and then on Monday, you saw the fire earlier that I drew. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty warm. We're talking 90s for the day on Monday. Today was pretty nice too. We had some sunshine after those clouds that were around this morning were able to kind of move out of the area. These are the current temperatures. 66 right now in Portland, not too bad. Look at Gray, 77 still, so pretty warm, a pretty nice evening out there. 73 right now in Lewiston, 76 in Bangor, 76 in Old Town. Belfast currently at 72 and cooler along the coast. Rockland at 62, Vinyl Haven only at 57 degrees. So let's talk about the weekend. It's going to be gorgeous. I'll give you the short story right there. Tonight stays nice. Even as we head into tomorrow morning, temperatures aren't too bad. Starting out around 70 degrees tomorrow. Then it warms up into the mid-80s as we go into tomorrow afternoon. It's looking good. Plenty of sunshine too for the day on Saturday, and the sunshine will stick around right until Sunday. So for dads, it looks great. It will be a little bit cooler along the coast as we get into the day on Sunday. Temperatures stay in the upper 60s and low to mid 70s on Sunday, as opposed to being into the 80s for everyone on Saturday. You can see that sea breeze kicks in. 65 in Portland as we get to around 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. But overall, on some clicker issues. Overall, looks like a great weekend either way. Sunny again both Saturday and Sunday. And then as we get into Monday, we'll start to see some showers move in late Sunday night. Those stick around through the day on Monday. Again, just gorgeous this weekend. Hang on to that, because on Monday, these will be the high temperatures. 92 in Portland. I mean, it is going to be toasty. 90 in Augusta. Sanford 95. I wouldn't be surprised to see some areas away from the coast in southern Maine approach 100 degrees. It's going to be humid too on Monday, so of course it's going to feel even warmer than that. Some rain showers though move through as we head into Monday afternoon and evening, and then the temperatures will cool off quite a bit as we get into the day on Tuesday. I know a lot of people do need the rain. We're saying northern Maine will see the most of it. Unfortunately, far southern Maine on Monday may just see a few showers, so not great news there for the gardens, unfortunately, but the weekend looks good. At least you can play outside, maybe do a little grilling. I don't know, what are you guys up to? Hot and humid.
Chilling and grilling.
For
For Monday,
We're being tourists this weekend because we have family in from out of town. So
looks great. And then even into next week, summer starts officially on Thursday. We'll be in the 80s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
It's one thing or the other though. It's either extremely like below average temps or it's hot. There's no like happy medium.
Getting out next week, so they'll all be happy to get out of there.
Let's play outside.
Boy, Monday in school. Oh my
I know.
goodness, that's. I don't
Good
want
thing you're
to talk
installing air
about that.
conditioners this weekend.
Okay, thank you. So, how many of you run the dryer when you're out of the house, or when you're asleep? Some experts say that is a big fire risk.
I didn't realize you were doing two hands up. If you haven't had your lint filter professionally cleaned, that fire risk is even greater. Here's Evan West.
The fire can start right here where these vents are.
It's a dirty job, but someone has to do it.
Average cleaning time is around 30 to 45 minutes.
Lauren and Jeremy Carlton own Environmental Cleaning Solutions.
Wow, quite a bit of lint in here, actually.
They go where everyone else wouldn't dare, specializing in cleaning dryer vents and air ducts.
Run it!
Removing lint from the filter is easy. The only problem is, even if you clean it, your home can still burst into flames.
Oh my God. That's the main reason you want to get a yearly cleaning done.
According to the U.S. Fire Administration, dryer fires cause an estimated $35 million worth of damage, 100 injuries, and 5 deaths every year. The burning question, how do you know if your air duct needs a cleaning?
The dryer running hot. Also, if you see lint coming on the inside of the house or the outside, you can see the lint build up. If the dryer takes longer than 1 cycle, then that's a big sign that your dryer vent needs to be cleaned.
The whole process isn't expensive.
Average is about $150.
All that's left is a cloud of flammable lint.
Instantly ignite.
Leaving a little dust behind to go along with peace of mind.
The worst thing is I'm going to smell like a dryer sheet when I get done working.
News Center's Cindy Williams is here to tell us what's coming up at 5:30.
That's right. Remember the man in Lewiston who was severely beaten in that brawl in Lewiston? Well, he has now died from his injuries. Police are investigating a different kind of case as they try to figure out exactly what happened in Kennedy Park that night. Also ahead, Paul Manafort is going to jail. He's actually behind bars right now while a judge decided to revoke bail for the former Trump aide. All that and more coming up at 5:30.
All right, Cindy, thanks so much. Sure. Now, when we come back.
Iran to play it in. It's an own goal. Would you believe it?
Unbelievable. The Iran national soccer team has only won 2 World Cup games ever. Today's was the second, and it's only because a Moroccan player scored on his own goal. This came in the final seconds of regulation. It was 0-0 at the time, and that is how Iran moves on.
By default or not, Iran soccer fans were still ecstatic at the FIFA fan zone in Moscow, where the World Cup is hosted this year. Morocco fans were feeling a bit of shock, understandable.
All right, before we end our show, we're going to take a final look at our Pulse poll results. You guys have been voting throughout the entire program, and the results right now are, I can't see.
66% of you saying keep families together, 34% saying detain and prosecute adults. We thank everybody for joining the conversation on our YouTube live stream and Facebook, and for voting in our Pulse poll as well.
And for keeping all of your comments relatively civil. Yes. Thank you very much for that. News Center 5:30 comes your way right now.